You know, the director did a number on us with this movie. At one moment, it's really beautiful, inspirational, loving, transcending, just tranquil. And then on the other hand, it gets you mad, like festivity mad, like Esther Roll, good times, damn, 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 James just died mad. Oh, God. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyree here with another struggle review, here to discuss If Beale Street Could Talk. Now this movie is from 2018. It stars Regina King, Colman Domingo, and is directed by Barry Jenkins. Now before I get into this film, it touched me on the inside part. I was really feeling some type of way after watching this one. I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things You Can't Win. You know, just watching this, You Can't Win, and I mean like The Wiz, not like the plays. I mean like Michael Jackson. You can't win, yeah. Like you can't win, you can't win. You can't break even if you can't get out the game. People keep saying things get better, but it looks just like they're saying the same. We can't win. They ain't never gave us nothing. We can't win. You never had a chance.
Go back.
You guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. But before we jump into the movie, I have to give a shout out to the person who requested and paid for this review. If you happen to get your whole life, and I know you will because you follow me, and we're gonna get our life here today with this one. It's not because of me, it's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for requesting this, paying for this video, and supporting me and my channel. You are appreciated. Now, getting into the movie, this movie is based on a book by the same name, written by the iconic James Baldwin. And this is also Barry Jenkins' follow-up to Moonlight, and his movies are truly a thing of beauty, from everything from the music to the references to the cinematography to the way the melanin pops on the screen. He has this specific way of directing, and it's just so tranquil. It's like it transcends you somewhere else. It is truly gorgeous and unique. Barry Jenkins and his team deserve every bit of that damn Oscar, even though they tried to ruin it when he got it. Now, immediately we get into Clementine and Alonzo, or Tish and Funny. We're in the 70s and we have a young, beautiful black couple, and they are in love. But it's quite unconventional at this very moment due to him being in jail. He is behind bars and it is weighing on their relationship, but we don't know right off the bat why he's in there. We also get into Tish being pregnant, and she's really, really scared, like downright terrified to tell her parents. And it is a trip in comparison to now. No one today is really being held to a standard to wait until sex for marriage and to have children out of fear of being, mocked and judged and shamed. Like, I don't want to appear reckless and loose. Like, what? Now, as we get more into Tish, we do realize that we're going to get a lot of the story and the shots from her perspective, all the way from the beginning of her and Fonnie to the end. And it really gets you invested in them as a couple, in their love and their innocence. It's just like, damn, I really want these two to be together. Why can't they be together? It hits you so hard. You get so involved. But I love that when we get into her parents, Mr. Colman Domingo here, and we get into to Regina King. Even though they are of a certain time, they're very progressive and they do not shame her. They embrace her and lift her up and kind of pull her out of that scarceness of, oh my God, I'm young, I'm pregnant, I'm not married, he's in jail, I'm gonna be judged. And it's just like, no, baby girl, lift your head up. You have her sister here, played by Teyonah Parris, whole little Colman Domingo, Teyonah King reunion. It was beautiful. It was so good. The main thing I love about the very beginning and us getting introduced to the two families, no matter what was going on and who was right or wrong, both of them stuck together as families, as Black families. That shit was amazing to see. We don't do that enough. Stick beside me. Stick up for me. I'm your sister. I'm your blood. Don't do me like that. Now, as we get more backstory on their relationship, it's like, how could you be mad at them? How could you not want them to be together? Of course, we are made to be aware of, they were friends and this has, transformed into a relationship, but they have been close for a very long time. Their relationship is so genuine. It's homegrown. It's damn near enchanted. Like, they've known each other for such a long time. They've been best friends since childhood, and they really share a special bond like no other. I love the score in this film, this beautiful jazz that's playing in the background. It really gets you into the history of their romance. And we get it all through the eyes of Clementine. Like, getting everything via Tish, it makes everything feel really, intimate and small. And you feel like you're getting a peek into such a special bond and relationship. It's like, oh my God, we really shouldn't be watching this. But it's so beautiful. Like, I love the way it's shot. You feel so close to them. You feel like you're seeing that person or that relationship via the other person's eyes. Like, it's really beautiful. Now, y'all, we have all hell break loose when we get a whole Ray reunion via Anjanou Ellis, aka Marianne, you sure look fine, and Marjorie Hendricks, aka that's right, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. No. God damn it, I was like, oh Lord. You get into the families, honey. Now already, them preparing for them to come over, it's just like, this is about to be an uncomfortable, judgmental ass situation. And we knew it was. We smelt the family at the door. Where we have Tish's family, they are very, very unified. We got the afros, a little bit more progressive, a little bit more relaxed. Fonnie is in prison. We have a baby on the way. This is a blessing. If anything, this baby is coming. We have to accept it. We have to love and cherish this moment. Let's share it. Child, we have them come in with the button downs on, the look, the pressed hair. We knew it was about to be a problem. Oh, we still got some liquor and we put on the Al Green. It was about to go down. Now, immediately, once we get more into the family, we realize the type of character that Fonnie is. We get a glimpse into how he was raised, his childhood, and the kind of mother and father that he has. And you kind of get the back and forth of how he became who he was. Now, of course, via the mother, he is, a little prestigious. He is not like every other little random boy running around in New York. He found his purpose early on. You can tell he's been exposed to a little bit more of the arts. He's a sculptor. He's well read. He is different. He speaks different languages. He is a different kind of guy. Fonnie is special. Now we get into the dad, who has just all the disdain in the world for clearly his ex-wife. He is a little bit more rugged. He is a man's man, and he completely has a problem with his ex-wife and her image being holier than thou. Now, once we get even further into the mother and how much she has probably inflicted on her children and the father and the friction that they have there, you can see how someone like Fonnie, who is well versed and a little established, looks like he's on the path to do a lot more with his life, why he became so distant and just was like, you know what, I need to move out, get my own place with urgency. Who my mom is right now is not agreeing with me, because unlike my mother, I love Trish. The mother completely feels like Trish and her family are beneath them. Like, how dare you? I don't even even want to hear anything about his case. Like, everybody at that moment is already rallying together. Let's see what we can do. We need to get him out of there. This isn't right. We should go see this lawyer. I don't want to hear two things about it. I gave him everything that he would ever need to not end up being some black statistic, young, black, and in prison. I don't want to hear about it. I blame him for these circumstances. And most of all, I bring this heifer Tish, because she's beneath my son. He could have did better. Child. Now we have all the other hells break loose when she announces that she is with child. Now, not only is this mother blaming and judgmental, but she is a holy roller Bible thumper / hypocrite. Like, we know this mother, we know this family. The noses are up. We are better than you. We walk by faith. But you can walk by faith and still be an asshole and a hypocrite at the same time. The mother wants nothing to do with it. Like, she is completely broken. Her spirit is broken. Her faith is broken. Not only have you led my son down the path of sin and degradation, now you pregnant and he's in prison. Like, fuck all of this sin. Like, the mother is like the worst kind of person that you would ever want to meet. You know, them people you see in church and you be like, see, this is why I don't go to church now. That's one of those people. That's one of those people. She sees it as straight up sin, even goes out of her way to say harsh things about the baby in general. And then we have the husband straight up pimp slap her down in front of the entire family like it's nothing. Like, no one should really be in any position to place judgment on anyone. Clearly, everything in your buttermilk ain't clean, honey. Everything is not all A1 with your family. Look at what's going on. After her little breakdown and Regina read her rights and told her she could get her ass out, and the oldest daughter said, yeah, that's because nobody won't fuck them. Like, I fucking fell out. I just love the whole situation of those sisters sticking together and that family sticking together. Like, yes, what you're not gonna do is disrespect my daughter. You're not gonna disrespect my girls. Not in my house. You can get your stuck up judgmental ass the fuck out. Now, even though we have moments like that last a long time, my favorite moments here are by far just them being together and being so innocent and discovering themselves. Like, it is so pure to see them not really want anything from each other and not really know exactly what they want to do, but they know they have a connection like no other. And Fonny really wants to explore that, like, just to see their first date and see how she's so inspired and enamored of him. She just looks up to him so much. It was like, oh, like, it's so pure. Like, how could you not hate on that? Once they go and decide to pursue each other sexually and it's their first time and they're back at that place, all this good Miles Davis, Coltrane-esque jazz in the background is just so gorgeous. And it's like we're peeking in on something so sacred because of how it's shot. And when he says, like, you're gonna have to learn to trust me, you're mine, and you know, we have all the time in the world. It's just so beautiful, and it's just like, oh, y'all really don't. We get into a very important part of the movie, and that is us learning exactly what happened to Fonny and why we need to get him out of prison in the first place to make sure he's there for his baby to be born. Like, of course we're getting this via Tish, and I love how she presents it, and we get the black and white photos. It really shows us how passionate she is and how invested she is in the case. She knows everything from front to back. Pretty much, it's very, very basic. We have him being targeted and a woman saying, you know, this is the guy, he sexually assaulted me in my home, even though she didn't see anybody, even though Fonny at the time was way on the opposite side of town, hours away. He was pretty much in his own home, but it's saying that he was here, he did these things to me. This was the guy, arrest him. We have all the facts laid out about the victim, and we even have a lawyer on deck. But most importantly, we see how helpless and hopeless hopeless that this situation is right off the bat. The fact that someone could enter his home and arrest him and not have any evidence. He has a whole alibi, and he has 2 witnesses via Tish and a friend, but it's not, it's not reliable because he's an ex-con himself, and it's pretty much your word against this woman. She said you did it, you got picked up, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Not only do we have to come up with money, but the victim has went all the way back to Puerto Rico, and we can't do anything about it. It really doesn't matter. It just shows you how easy it is to get swept up in a situation based off of someone's word or just someone's pure hatred for you, and we'll get into that later. It just really doesn't matter. Once you're in the system, you're in there, and it's really hard to get you back out. Now, what I really do love and enjoy about this part of the movie is that even though they had all the odds against them in the world, we can't afford this, she's in Puerto Rico, how are we going to do this? You have the family band together, and they just stick it out for him. They never gave up on trying to get him out. They persevered no matter what. All the unity and them just believing in him and the situation, it was really great to see. Now, what breaks your fucking heart is, I know for me, it was each visit when we went to see Fonny. It's very realistic because you notice that each visit that Tish has for him, of course, she's, her belly is growing and there is like more bad news on top of bad news, but you see him trying to put on that brave face and that strong front. But you see the more time he spends in there and gets conditions, you see that it's really weighing on him as a man and as a person, and he just seems to lose more and more hope, and he's getting weaker, and his appearance and his just this light that comes off of him as a person and as a man, especially when we see how he was before he got in there, it just leaves. It's like, oh my God, it's really sad to watch. Now, the story really hits you hard when we have that conversation between Fonny and Daniel. It's so deep, it's so meaningful. Even though they are still really young black men, you see how much racism and the hatred for them as men, black men. Fonny is truly in fear, constant fear, just to be alive and be a man in that world, but takes what he does have truly to heart, especially Tish. All I have is myself and my woman and what we have together. Now, Daniel has been arrested and has served time already for some car theft shit that he didn't even do. Now, when we have Daniel physically say they can do whatever they want, these white men can get away with whatever they want to, they can make you so scared and instill so much fear. It was so much great acting right there at that moment at that table between them two sitting there and Tish in that kitchen overhearing it, and just that demonic sense of fear that came over them just talking about not being able to be free and be black in America. And it's just like, I've never even fucking driven a car. I don't even know how to drive. I just had a little weed on me, but I took that lesser charge. I took that plea deal. Like, you don't know what it is to just feel like, you know what, at least if I do that, at least I can get out. What is it if I don't take this plea deal for some shit I didn't do? At least I can get out. Me trying to fight for my rights as a person and go against the grain, yeah, that means me spending a whole bunch of time in prison. So I'm taking that plea. It's just like, I'm just so in fear. I'm fucking scared. And you have Fonny just really trying to be there for his friend and console him and let him know it's gonna be okay. You still have a chance. You still have an opportunity. I love you. Like, it's gonna be okay, man. I understand. And it's just like, you won't understand because you've never been there. You have something here that I've never had. And then you just reflect on where Fonny is now and what he's experiencing firsthand, and it's just like he feels the same way that Daniel felt sitting at that table, and that's a hurting feeling. Now, even though at this point of the film things are getting really heavy and there's a time crunch, she's starting to get really, really far along in her pregnancy, there is some beauty here. There is such, hardships, but all this nuance and beauty here in the film via James Baldwin words, the screenplay, and the way that Barry Jenkins decided to shoot it in the cinematography. We have three things going on here simultaneously, and they are all a thing of beauty. We have Tish and her job at the perfume counter. We have the fathers have a meeting of the minds and discuss the need for money. And we have Fonny, that throwback moment of them trying to purchase their first place. Like, it's so beautiful. Tish working behind that perfume counter in the different ways that she perceived the different types of men that came up, smell her hand, bring it to their nose, and how she feels like she's perceived behind the counter as a black woman working in this white space. When we get into the dads talk about money, it's like, no, we're gonna persevere. If we start focusing on money, we're not gonna win. We've had these kids, we have to protect them as our children. And if we start worrying about money when we never had any to begin with, who gives a fuck about that? Like, we're gonna make it happen. We are not gonna pick this time to start worrying about money. We have none then and we don't have none now. We still made it. Like, and we cut into them hustling. And then we have Fonny. That whole situation with Tish just really not feeling the space. Like, I'm not seeing it. I don't see the vision. And you just see that spark in him and the type of man he is. He's so loving and that big imagination. Like, no, here's the stove, here's the couch. Don't you see it? I see it here. He's a smooth talker. He's a people person. You just feel like he's gonna go far. So at any moment that you see that he is stifled and he's not that same imaginative, bright person who was getting shown that apartment, it's just like, damn, why? Now we get to the root of everything after we have mom gear up to go to Puerto Rico. It's like, no, we don't have time to wait on anybody. I'm gonna get the suitcase and I'm going to find her myself. Like, what? Family. We get into the night in question and also the night that the baby was conceived, and we heard Fonny speak on it briefly. We have them just so excited at the aspects of, like, we don't have to worry about, as black people, us being kept out of certain housing. Like, he is willing to take a chance on us. We have promise here. Our relationship, we're about to blossom and be a beautiful, fulfilled black couple. And then we have somebody come and step on their whole fucking dreams. We have that night in question of Fonny explaining to Dan, this man, he approached her. I have to protect Trish. I have to be there. They just feel so entitled. They just feel like they're allowed to do certain things. But when I step up, they're not. Like, we have heard via even Tish and the dad, like, he is a very proud young man. He is not conditioned to be a certain way. He's not scared to show his opinion, to protect himself, his family as a black man. Like, I'm not scared of anything. He is quite fearful. So when he is in that, all Italian white ass area, you are approaching and harassing my woman, my girlfriend. Of course, I'm going to defend her. And of course, we get the white officer coming the fuck along. Like, he is just completely disgusted at the sight of Fonny immediately. He goes and he tries to arrest him right off the bat for no reason at all. And I love at this moment, it's really not spoken like, okay, yeah, this was the setup. They don't say it flat out, but we know that this is the main reason why, because it's like, I got your fucking number. How dare you come and approach me and stick up for yourself, defend yourself as a black man, defend your woman? Who are you? This is he's a very entitled asshole, racist ass police officer, typical bullshit. But at that moment, we have the owner of the store come out and vouch for them. Like, I know these kids, they're innocent. He was the problem. You're not on my watch. You're not doing this shit right now. But I love at that moment, we have Tish kind of step in front. Like, I know what this is. This is going to escalate. And she tries to defend him. And he gets so upset at that moment. Like, I love you and I know you love me, but don't you ever do that. Don't you ever fucking in your life try to jump in front of a bullet, try to jump in anything to try to defend me. I'm supposed to protect you. I love you and I'm glad that you love me enough to defend me, but I'm not defending you the way I should as a black man and as the man who loves you and cares for you. If you are standing in front of me, I can't protect you. Like, sir, say that shit again. Protect your black woman at all costs. I loved it, even though it was rugged and he was being forceful and he was upset. He threw the fruit on the wall, but you could understand where he was coming from. He wanted so badly to protect her and shield her for everything. Like, I don't need you to step up for me. I love that you will, but I low-key want you to stand behind me. Because if there's any chance that you're trying to defend me and some pain is inflicted on you as a black woman, I will fucking lose it. Don't ever do that again. Like, I won't. I won't do it no more. Now, the story takes a huge turn when Regina King makes it all the way down to Puerto Rico. Like, she took that trip. She dressed for the occasion, honey. She went, like, to be that fearless, to go down there and go alone and don't speak nobody Spanish, just to go find this woman, just to save Fonny, save her daughter, save their relationship, save their family. Like, oh my goodness. She was not taking no for an answer. I'm going to put this picture in your face. Look at it. Look what's at stake. This is not just about, coming. You think I came all the way down here just to bother you or bother her. I know something happened to her. I love the way that the family handled the sexual assault. Even though Fonny was the man in question, nobody ever, just threw out her claims or felt like she was trying to target him to take him down. It's like, we're not denying that something happened to her. We know something happened to her. We're just saying that it wasn't him. And she needs to do right by that. Like, I need to speak to her. When we have her finally find her to go speak to her, y'all, like, don't it just break you? Like, you get a really good look into the prison system and how this is just not affecting Fonny. This is affecting the unborn child. Not only just Tish, his family, everybody, the siblings, the cousins, uncles, sisters. When someone is locked up, especially for some shit that they did not do, regardless, it is affecting all of us. She was so hurt at that moment that woman just did not hear or care to know her arc and her cry. Like, I am here for this picture, for this person here. And you can see for the most part that it was a setup, of course, and that officer told her to pick Fonny out in particular. He had a vendetta against him. Like, I got your number. I'm going to take you down. When I have a moment, I'm going to get you. You're not going to be that one that got away with disrespecting me and trying to defend yourself as a black man. Like, she just can't take it though. She freaking loses it on the street. And it was very much giving trauma. It was giving, I can't go back now. It was giving, I did what I had to do. I did what I was told. And it was very much giving Karen, white trauma, white woman, help me, even though I'm not being harmed, I'ma scream loud and do all of this. Oh my gosh, she's hurting me ass syndrome. It was just so much. It was like, girl, like, no, like, she just broke down at that moment. Like, I am trying so hard, like, it just pissed you off, but you feel for her at the same time because you know something happened to her, but you know it wasn't him. Like, you can't even take a minute to acknowledge it and right your wrong, like, regardless of what you were told and how this may even affect you as a woman or Puerto Rico or what have you. I don't know what all they promised or did to her. This is an innocent man. He didn't touch you. You didn't see him touch you, and you allowing him to go to jail for something that he didn't do is going to affect my entire fucking family. It's going to affect all of us, and you don't care enough to do anything, but you're going to stand here and scream on this street. It just makes your fucking blood boil. Now, at that moment, we realized that was pretty much our last hope of Fonny getting out, and so does the family. And it really hits you so hard because through the movie and the shots and everything, even those moments where you have Fonny kind of rotting away in there and you see that he's kind of drifting off and remembering what once was, him being in his elements, the cigarette smoke, the sculpting, like, that's my life. This is not my life. And we realize that he's never really going to get right back to that, not right away anyway, and he's not going to be able to get out in time to see that baby born. And she goes to visit him that one last time, and at that moment it just feels like Fonny is losing it, but and everything that they have tried has failed, and he's just accepting the fate that he shouldn't have to. Like, he just told her what he felt like she needed to hear at that moment. And I love that even though she's giving him this harsh news, like, we weren't able to do anything, mom found her, she's not going to retract the story, like, this is it, we've done everything that we can do. And he's so calm and collecting and just accepting it and still saying, no, it's okay, I'm going to be out of here, everything is going to be okay. Even though you see in his body language and in his face, he knows that isn't going to be true, but you still have him, even in that moment, locked up behind bars, behind that glass. He is still still trying to protect her. Like, oh, just to see how much he loved her. Even those moments where, you know, she's having the pains come and he's yelling for the guard or somebody, you know, to help her. Like, his love and his protection for her and how sacred he felt that she was, it never wavered. Even when his situation is completely fucked up, I'm still going to protect her. I know I'm not getting out of here right away, but I'm not going to say any of that. I'm going to get out of here. Everything's going to be okay. I'm going to see the baby. You're going to be fine. I'm not going to admit defeat in your face. I still need to protect you, even though I'm broken. Y'all. Now we end off with this really beautiful water birth scene and her having the baby. Now, of course, Fonny isn't there, and you just have her pretty much move on, and it's just like, wow. When we have her say, you know, once you were 22 and I was 19 and we're still not married, it's just like, damn. We have the child, he's a whole lot older, and Fonny got lost in the fucking shovel like many other black men at that time. He simply took the plea deal, or he would have still been sitting there rotting away. He pled guilty for some shit that he didn't do and served time. Like, what the fuck? We're just pretty much left with a situation that I'm sure happens more than we could ever know. I just pled guilty to the charge. I took a plea. So at least at this rate, I have freedom. I will eventually get to freedom instead of sitting here rotting away, waiting for someone to become aware that I am fucking innocent. I didn't do anything. But at least now, I know there's a chance that I can get out. My son is much older now. I've missed so much time. It's like, despite everything they tried to do, despite all the family's efforts, all the visitation, all the money spent, all the time spent, he was still locked away and nobody cared. Time went on without him. Now we clearly see that time has went on, and you can see that she's changed. She's a mother now. She used to be very demure and really shy, but she is very confident and very aware of the situation at hand. And even though that they are having visitation at that very moment, the love that they once had in their eyes, this gleam of hope, it is completely lost. And at that moment, it's just like, what the fuck does freedom really look like for Fonny? He may get out and he may have freedom, but what does that really look like? What about everything that he's been subjected to since he's been in prison? And we just saw him in the way that his demeanor changed from the little time that he was in there. He spent years in there. He's a completely different person. He's lost time with his family, lost time with his son. He's probably lost out on his relationship. I mean, you know, they're still there, but you could just see something is completely lost. Time has been lost. Love has been lost. His value as a person and as a black man has been lost. And what the hell does getting out really look like? He will have something attached to his name, have a felony attached to him for the rest of his life for something that he did not do. But he's expected to go out, re-enter the population, and just be good old Fonny, the same guy that he went in as, when his complete outlook and demographics and chances at just being a regular schmegular dad, black man, husband will be completely thrown out of the window. This will no longer be the Fonny that we met with the gleam and the glare and the imagination and all of this personal, like all this pride in his eyes. He, for the most part, I feel like will be broken. We see that he has a very strong outlook, and just, I love when we have that moment of the baby boy saying, you know, he's so happy you're about to get out, and he says grace, and it's just like, wow, like you've done a really good job raising him with me in here, but you know, it's the countdown and I'll be out. It's just like, what does that really look like? It really doesn't even seem appealing. And even though those smiles are coming across from the table and we have the baby boy, we just know all too well that when and if he does get out at that moment, nothing will ever be the same for him. And we are left really sad because we know that this happens all the time. Well, you guys, that was my review for If Beale Street Could Talk. Lord, my heart. my heart, the beauty in this film, and also it pulling all at your heartstrings. Like, man, this is very, very heavy. This is a teachable moment, but it's wrapped in this beautiful bubble. Like, this is a gorgeous movie. I really enjoyed watching this and trying to piece it together, even though it's a hard watch. This should be like some required viewing at some point in life, because this is very important. This whole situation here with Tish and Fonny is really not all that uncommon. It still occurs every day, all the time. Like, this shit needs to stop. But you guys drop down and tell me what you thought about my review, what you think about this film. I look forward to reading your comments. I see you guys for my next video. Bye.